Alexander. Alongside me is El Capitan Lucas Biggers. And we got the First Lady tonight, Shakura Armstrong. Boxing Playhouse First Lady as well. Guys, what's going on? What's up?
Hey, how's it
Well,
going?
I'm having a wonderful week. I mean, because I'm just, everywhere I go, I'm just thinking about Bud.
So, I'm thinking you're referring to Bud Crawford, Shakura. Terrence Crawford, who had a big fight this weekend. Let's go ahead and jump into that as our first topic up. First and foremost, as always, I just want your reactions to it. I kind of believe I formed a question here on the first one. But as you all know, Bud Terrence Crawford destroys Kell Brook with a fourth round TKO. Shakura, what's your thoughts on the fight and what happened?
I mean, I enjoyed that win. I mean, I also enjoyed it because Brooke did give him a little pushback, and he was trying to figure a way to get past his jab or neutralize his jab. And I mean, the first two rounds, I actually scored it for Brooks, but then after that, it was like Bud's show, and I just really I just like annoying people that are like naysayers, Bud ain't that, Bud ain't this. But yet Bud knows how to win, which is what everybody's supposed to like in a champ, unless you're Bud Crawford. So, I mean, as far as the fight is concerned, I was happy with the results. And I'm ready to see him get in there with even a better prize boxer and showcase his talent even more. And I don't know. I don't know if it's time that Brooks goes ahead and makes that Amir Khan fight that we've all wanted to see for years. It's a little past the prime for the way that the fans wanted to see that. Um, I'm saying have it in the UK, of course, because it still is like a UK rivalry. And then I think it may be time for him to, ride on off into the sunset and start figuring out other ways of maximizing his notoriety and his boxing career.
Lucas, everybody's talking about has to talk about measuring stick. I know you feel the same way we do. You really can't measure people because it's different styles, different fighters. But they still really, even the commentators after the fight were talking about, 4 rounds versus 11.
I mean, it is a measuring stick, and it's not. It's hard because certain fighters just aren't the same after certain people fight them. Some are. Some you can get in there and be like, hey, he still fought a game, opponent, about the same opponent that Spence fought, but I'd be lying if I said that. I think we all know Kell Brooks taking a little bit off the top. I'm not saying he's not a legit fighter, even a legit competition in that fight. I'm simply saying he's not fighting the same dog that Spence fight, that Golovkin fought. It is definitely a weaker version, I would say. Just like, let's take Brandon Rios, for example. Tim Bradley didn't knock out the same version that fought Mike Alvarado. Very different fighters in those two fights. And I do think that's the case here. Um, However, as far as the measuring stick goes, even a lesser version of Kell Brook to do what Bud Crawford did to him definitely was still a big statement. And I was looking for that. I mean, that's something that everybody's looking for right now. Pound for pound champion. We want to see how you are going to take care of business, and not just skill wise, but had the power to get him out of there, and he did it. And he did it in spectacular fashion with a punch that was basically just a half-assed jab, even knocked him across the ring. So I would say, he's very impressive. Of course, that still doesn't solidify him necessarily as pound-for-pound king with this win, but still an amazing fight, still an amazing win.
Well, we're going to get into that in a few topics here later. My take on it, though, is look, I like fighters that take over the show when they're ready in the ring. And I like fighters who can go in there, strategize, try to see what their opponent is doing, and then at any given point in time, just take over. And that's what Bud did. And everybody's speculating about the slow start. Oh, like Shakura said, some people gave Kale the first 2 rounds. Really, he gave away the first couple of rounds. And then once he figured him out, it was lights out. And it was lights out in spectacular fashion. And that, to me, is the proof in the pudding with Terrence Crawford. When you look at skill and you look at talent, the man can take over the fight at any given time whenever he's ready. And when he takes it over, there's no stopping him. Period. There's no stopping him. With that being said, there's one thing that people undermines within Terrence Crawford, and that's the nastiness and the killer instinct. And that's something we don't see often, especially in this division right now, even amongst the bigger stars. So that's one thing to keep in mind because, of course, you know me, I'm going to bring that back up later on in the show. With that being said, we turn to what was speculated from Mr. Bob Arum after the fight. So according to Bob Arum, he says that there actually was a fight agreement or negotiations in place between Pacquiao and Crawford for this fight that Kell Brook had to step into. He said due to COVID, that fight went off. Now, and he even tried to speculate and say right immediately after the victory, Pacquiao's people was on the phone to Bob Arum. Guys, is this fight going to be next? And should it be next for Crawford? Lucas, we'll start with you.
It should absolutely be next for Crawford, but it should not be next for Pacquiao. It's a dangerous fight. Unfortunately for Crawford, though, you know how the boxing world is. I mean, yes, Pacquiao's coming off a win over Thurman, but you know how people are going to say already, right? It's an old
He's
Pacquiao.
too old.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I'm not going to legitimize that argument, especially when you come off. You do get old overnight some nights, but this is one that at least would put up the measuring stick. You know, so, I mean, Canelo fought an old Mayweather, but guess what? Mayweather still won. I mean, I don't think the fight's out of Pacquiao yet. If it happens soon, I would say you got to give the man all credit. But of course, if you're Bob Arum, you would want to make that fight. He's just probably kicking himself in the ass for not making it when he was in Top Rank because that would mean so much more money for him.
So Shakura, that's true. Shakura, I want to go a little bit deeper into this speculation and everything with this fight, though. Because here's the immediate reaction I get when I get the phone calls and the text messages after this fight. And then people go online and they see all these other fighters calling out Pacquiao. And this was a question. Why are they still calling out Pacquiao? Why is Terrence Crawford still calling him out to put him on the resume at this juncture in his career?
You know damn well why.
But let's face it. Terrence has said out there numerous times now he has a Hall of Fame career already.
Like a right hook, right on.
So why is he still calling out Pacquiao? Why is he relevant, Shakura?
Because he's a title holder. He still has one of the main belts, you know. So if Bud can get a unification bout and grab that extra belt, in his eyes, you know, he has more leverage to try to come to the table and, you know, basically negotiate a decent money fight with Errol Spence. I mean, Errol Spence has 2 titles. So right now, with his 1 title, they're like, well, we're a unified title over here, title holder over here. So, you know, if you want to play business with us, we're the A side because we have more titles. You know, they're gonna try to use that as leverage. But I also felt that the other reason that they called out Pacquiao is because they don't want to actually give a hand away to the fact that they really want a Spence fight. And, you know, it's also probably debatable as to whether or not Top Rank is considering the fact that they're going to be losing Bud if he decides to play with the other Pond members on the PBC roster. So I mean, it's a lot of tactical things that's going on behind the scenes. Why bring up Pacquiao when you could have just went ahead and said I want Errol? Well, in his last win, he said I want Errol, and we see what happened. Nothing. So why not call out Pacquiao now and see if you can get some kind of like fan support behind that fight? I mean, me personally, I'm like, well, what the hell happened? Because I was under the assumption that Mikey Garcia had secured the fight with Pacquiao.
So nobody has.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear. Nobody has secured a fight yet.
Exactly. There's a lot of negotiations going on, a lot of talking, but there has not been confirmation on these different matchups. I mean, for Pacquiao, if I were him, if you don't want to have a Thurman rematch, why would you want to fight a Crawford? I'm not seeing that you would want to fight somebody that's known to be a pound for pound number one guy if you're not really trying to even fight Keith Thurman, who was the champion of the WBA belt before their fight. So it doesn't make sense to me that Pacquiao would be interested in this fight. Also, well, they weren't interested when, like Lucas is saying, they were both on Top Ranks under Top Ranks banner. So it just don't all the puzzle pieces are not fitting together for me. I mean, the golden situation for Bud Crawford right now is if he get his ass over there and fight with the other welterweights, where all the welterweights are primarily located. Anybody else you choose, including the Pacquiao when he beats them, it's gonna be, but it's an older Pacquiao. It's gonna be, well, he still ain't fought none of the young people that are welterweights. Like, it's gonna still be a million excuses. Even with Brook, I thought he was a weaker opponent based on the type of wars he had been in before. But a lot of people felt that he was like, a legitimate opponent for him. So now, after the fight and after he's won, now it's, well, no, it's still not good enough. It's still not. I mean, he said, Brooks says he got caught with the punch. Maybe he just did get caught with the punch that you don't see. That is the punch that hurts you the most. Or is it because he's a lackluster and aging boxer that went through a hard fight with Triple G and damaged him? If I look back on Brooks' career, I would say that Triple G fight, it was a good money fight for him, but I don't know if it was worth his entire career having this kind of lingering effect on his career, as far as whether or not he is lesser of a boxer than he was. So I can see both sides of that when we're talking about whether or not that was a good enough opponent for Brook or not. But what I can't see is, well, who the hell is going to be the best opponent for him? I mean, is it going to be that no matter who Bud fights at welterweight, there's going to be a whole group of fans that's going to come up with different excuses why it wasn't good enough, it's not a great enough opponent? I mean, let's say he fought Errol Spence right now and he beat him terribly. So people are going to be like, oh, well, Spence did just have a car accident. We really didn't know how he was going to be. So, like, I'm just wondering, who is the opponent going to be that's going to be good enough for people to give this man his respect?
So that's a good question. And you were really on a roll with that. So I appreciate your answers there. I appreciate it.
So, like,
but
I'm just wondering,
some controversy,
who is the opponent going to be that's going to be good enough for people to give this man his respect?
Going into this next situation. So that's a good question. You saw Crawford immediately pull Bob Arum up on the podium after the fight. You seen the question that was asked when it was asked, what's next? He looked right at Bob Arum and made him answer the question. Crawford has 2 fights left in that contract. There's an article out there floating out in the scenes that has no validity. They're quoting Bob Arum, and I haven't heard this from the man myself, but just to stir up the controversy of the article, I can see this happening. But the quote, and it's not a direct quote, but the quote says that Bob Arum said, "I'm not wasting my money and going bankrupt on Terrence Crawford." to make these fights. Guys,
I don't
is
even
the
know how to
end
say to that. I mean,
is the
I mean,
end
you said
near?
it's not.
Is the
What do you mean
is
when you
the
say it's not confirmed? What are you saying? Did he say it or not?
yeah,
the web
you played a little bit too much with rumor. I
the
don't.
the website is not a valid website. Therefore, they're quoting Bob Arum, but I haven't heard the man say this anywhere else. I haven't heard him say it on ESPN. I haven't heard him say it to their writers. So it's not it's a boxing website, but we have no direct quote from Bob Arum himself.
Okay. Well,
However,
let's
that
go with
being
both. Okay, if it's true, and Bob did say that, then is he saying that the negotiations would go, or he believes that the negotiations would not go well, and he would not be able to make that much money off the fight? And if it is not the truth, and he didn't say that, then does he really does my question is, does Arum really want to let go of that welterweight? Does he really want to let go of Bud? I mean, right now he has Bud, but he don't have anybody else to play with over there in their staple, really. So, like, I mean, what is the benefit of him continuing to keep Bud around when he's not able to make the maximized dollars off him?
Yeah,
So if I'm a successful business person, me personally, I'm like, I'm gonna do what I feel is best, and that I'm gonna make the most money off of. And if I can't make them big money fights for a boxer that I'm holding, I don't know if I'm gonna keep on holding him and just making money, regular money. When I know if I let him go, I can spend that same money on other divisions that I do have stacked up, like heavyweights. He signed a lot of heavyweights recently. So, like, I'm just saying, like, does it make business sense for him to continue to keep holding Terrence in this bubble, but not having anybody to really make a large purse off of him with?
Let's go to some comments here. CJ Hooker says they want to say that they retired Pacquiao. Who wouldn't want that on their resume? Sherman says Cal Brook excuses. Clarence McLean, Porter, or Ugas. Guys, I mean, I agree completely with what Sakura said. I mean, but also, you take into effect, I mean, like she was saying, who else does he have, really?
so the way that the
You got to
article
put your money in there.
the
And
way that
why
the
else
art
not fake Pacquiao? Because you're turning him into a pay-per-view star should he win.
So I'll say this though too, and I'm going just off of this article, and I'm also going off of the interview with Brian Custer and kind of what he was saying and his take on these networks and these publications. Arum is not willing to put his money up there and give it to anybody else. So therefore, in order for him to make a fight with Spence, he's gonna have to give away some of that money to the other networks, to the other promoters, and to me, that's kind of what he's saying here is I'm not going bankrupt to promote these fights for Bud, for Crawford, in order to give my money away to these other people.
Well, I mean, yeah, whenever you do, shared promotion like that, you got to share the money. I mean, that's kind of how it works. But also with that shared promotion, you're getting a larger cut of the money because, let's face it, he doesn't have anybody in-house at Top Rank for Crawford to fight. I mean, you're still making money. I don't see the problem there.
Now, another piece of the article is also leaning towards the fact that it's Bud's fault. So let's go there. Is Bud doing the right thing to market himself? And I mean, it even went on to name, he said Teofimo Lopez is marketing himself well for me. Some of my other fighters out there that I have, Lomachenko markets himself well. Bud doesn't.
But
that
is his job. What else are you doing, man? Like, you're supposed to be that. You do that that's your promoter. You're supposed to be able to turn this to make it look Bud's way. That's why you're getting a cut at all. If not, Bud can take care of putting up a ring and setting up a promotion. You know what I'm saying?
I think Shakur is froze there. Froze up my friend Shakur. However,
That's his job. Why are you getting a pay cut? Why are you getting a cut at all? You're not needed. You are specifically there to promote me, make me look great, set me up with a decent fight. That's what you're supposed to do. See, this world has gotten tossy-turny, and everybody thinks now that the fighters work for the promotion, but it's the promotion that works for the fighters.
see, I love getting Lucas riled up. Then I did my job tonight, people. So that goes on the other side in the article in the interview with Brian Custer to Terrence Crawford, and he said specifically, what would it take for you to leave Top Rank? And Bob Arum, and he looked at him and said, business. He said business. People think this 2-fight deal, yeah, he may be able to land Pacquiao, but after that, I don't see much else being able to happen over at Top Rank. I think the future is nearing, it's over. I think it's really over after these 2 fights with Crawford and Top Rank, as it should.
I don't know how much longer is he under contract? Because
2 fights. That's it. 2 fights. So, Lucas, let me ask you then and go to the next topic that you kind of touched on earlier, because I believe you had an answer that I'm not appealing to. Is Terrence Crawford number 1 pound for pound like everybody else has put on that list?
Oh, man. Put me on the spot here. Yes and no. That depends on how you do your pound for pound list. So if you're just doing it off names, or if you're doing it off what you believe they're capable of versus what they've actually achieved, there's very different ways that people go about making these pound for pound lists. A lot of people had Golovkin on it way before I did, just because, like you guys know, I mean, who did he fight? He didn't really fight anybody, so it's very hard.
He was destroying those guys, though. He really was destroying Rodriguez. He destroyed a lot of guys. Pretty much everybody they put in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to put him number 1. I'm being honest with you. And I think we talked about it outside of the show, but like, he was basically saying he's already a Hall of Famer. It's hard to argue against it based on achievements, but based on actual fighting opposition, he doesn't make a great case.
Let's go into that, Lucas, because actually I agree with you. Go to the comments.
Yeah, let's go to the comments here. All right, Sherman says, whose job is it to promote and market Bud? So yeah, he was agreeing with me. Let's see. Okay. The promoter is blaming Bud. Bob is willing to put his all into Loma, and Loma doesn't promote himself. He take care of his business in the ring, just like Bud. Sherman Henson says, whose job is it to promote Terrence Crawford? It's Bob Arum's job to promote Crawford. So I think that's the resounding thing, is like, do your job. Why else am I giving you any money? So
with that being said, we're discussing now, is he number 1 pound for pound fighter? And I think that title itself is marketable. Just in having that title itself is marketable for Terrence Crawford. But Lucas, to your point, you don't agree with that. Now, I agree with you with him making the statements that I have a Hall of Fame career if I retire today. That's false. And the validity in that being false is because the legendary fighters all had that big, huge legendary fights.
I'm kind of surprised for you to hear that, because I could have swore you were just going to agree with him. Like, yeah, you should.
That was the Hall of Fame topic. Now that was not number 1 pound for pound. But in terms of any other fighters out there, look, Bob Arum said you put Teofimo Lopez and Ambrose Spence in the ring on the same night, and I'll put Bud with them, and he'll beat them both. That's how talented Bob believes in Terrence Crawford, and that's how talented I believe Terrence Crawford is. Now, when I told you the difference in him and any other fighter in that division, any other fighter pretty much out there right now, even Canelo himself, and Canelo has more power, more size to him, but he doesn't have that killer instinct. He's not trying to go out there and knock out guys and take their heads off and everything like that in the ring. He's just trying to win the fight and win it on talent alone. Bud actually wants to get in there and beat you.
Well, I'm sorry I got cut off. My computer didn't want to cooperate.
There's a lot of that going on today.
I know, right? So, I mean, I wanted to get back to the subject of Bud not marketing himself. I wasn't able to respond, but I'm on Lucas's side on this one. Like, what the hell you want the man to do? He gets in the ring. I mean, he takes care of business. It was an amazing punch. I mean, what else you want this man to do? He calls out people at the end of the fights. I mean, what's left for him to market? What would you like for him to do?
Mm-hmm.
He even had his beautiful, delicious, real black love lady. I mean, they take pictures together and stuff as a couple up there too. I mean,
I'm out there too.
Do? He got his sons up there. He got, they post on social media like he's a family man. What do they expect him to do?
Clarence
to
says,
market himself better.
Hell, it's time for them to go their separate ways. And I would agree. I was surprised when he re-signed with them the last time, because I'm thinking, man, you already you're struggling to find opposition with him, because he doesn't want to go to PBC just as much as PBC don't want to give you the time of day. So I fully expect him to go to PBC, if nothing else, just to make himself more easily marketed. I mean, it is hard to market him. I'm not going to say that Bob Arum said what you said, Rob, simply for the fact he is a good promoter. I mean, he's usually good at his job. He builds names. That's what he does. If there's a name in boxing in the last, decade, pretty much, it's came from him.
Lucas.
He's built up Floyd. He built up the Golden Boy. He's built
I gotta stop you right now. He is good with promoting specific boxers that are in his lane. He is not good at marketing African American boxers.
Okay, hold on, time out.
I'm not trying to make fun of him.
That's a rapid fire topic.
It's not a racist thing or anything. I'm just telling you how it is. He even admitted to Floyd Mayweather that he was no good at marketing for African American, culture.
Sure,
so
that's a rapid fire.
I hear what you're saying about the promotions. I get what you're saying, Rob. But what I'm trying to tell Lucas is he is good at promoting certain boxers, but it's always a problem when he's trying to promote an African American boxer most times.
Let's see. Sherman says Bob Arum should have turf Crawford doing pay-per-view at this point in his career.
And there's other issues that I have with it too, as far as this situation with Bob Arum. Since we're going and on the topic of Bob Arum, he already is an established promoter, like Lucas just said. He's a Hall of Fame worthy promoter because of all the fights that he has. Let's face it, Bud. He has money. He has money already. He's made his living. He's made his legacy. Why the hell would you let your legacy blunder for your loyalty for this man who already has it all? Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, whether you hate Al Heyman or not, he's going to get you paid. Every single fighter says that.
Hey, I gotta come back though. How much did Arum get for Crawford in this no fans era?
It's
with not much of an undercard, I would say he did Bud pretty well. Bud cashed in.
No, he didn't. Okay, let me tell you like this.
How much
Regardless
was it?
of whether or not,
5 mil or more?
regardless whether or not he did his damn
For
job,
fighting Kell Brook.
Bud should be fighting for 20 mil by now. He should be fighting for 20 mil by now, and he can get it on the other side. So, yeah, just because Bob Arum did his job, I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for Bob Arum because he loses Bud Crawford. Bob is 80-something damn years old. He's already got it all. Okay? Give this young brother a chance to make the most money he's ever going to make in life and set the legacy straight.
Look, $4 million is nothing. He got paid $4 million, and that is nothing to bat an eye at, man. I mean, especially with COVID.
It is.
Really.
It is when Al Heyman can get you 20.
You think Al Heyman will be able to get him 20?
Now let's call
Do you
a
honestly
spade
think
over
that?
here. Yes. I'm tired of the bullshit. Let's call a spade right now over here. Let's call it spade. Bob Arum is not doing Bud no favors with no $4 million. And Lucas said, you want to lash your eyes at that? The talent that Bud Crawford has, he can wipe his ass with that money. He should be making 20 mil.
How much?
I agree.
Does anybody know
who
how much?
else is a pound for pound number one, considered a pound for pound number one, and making you know, 5 million when other welterweights that's not even on the top 10 pound for pound list are making more than that.
Ryan Garcia is making what, 2 mil?
How
I mean,
how
I'm not trying to be funny, but yeah, he could be making more money. If it's 20 mil, I'm not sure.
Gervonta Davis made about $1 million, maybe at 1.5, and that's for a pay-per-view fight. Terrence Crawford went on ESPN, where more people will see him, and got more money for it. Bob Arum did his job, guys.
Terrence Crawford is much older than Tank Davis and a way better established fighter than Tank Davis. Tank is on the come up. Tank is trying to get to Bud's level.
You're arguing promoters, and I got, that's the only numbers I got from him, so I don't know.
Hey, I'll say, how about this? He did good, decent numbers for COVID and not having an audience.
Right, and all of that. But just think if Bud was already on the other side.
Where was Al Heyman during COVID? Did he try to bring anything back? No.
He's bringing fights back.
What am I talking about?
Yeah, that's what the Showtime. We had 2 pay-per-views.
The Charlo brothers. He bought the Charlo brothers.
Yeah, the double hitter Charlo brothers.
I'm talking about, where was boxing? The only thing going on was Top Rank, and it was like Tuesday nights for like
and you didn't
2-3 months.
I was like you hated
but
the
at least he's trying to
matchups.
put fights together. I don't see nobody else putting no damn fights together.
Well, they let them figure out the formula, and then they came up with their own bubbles. So I would have done the same thing, honestly. Yeah. But my point is, we getting off the subject, because the point is, like, is Bob Arum saying, is he really thinking about just releasing Crawford? The answer is hell no. Right now, that's a chess piece for him. And for me, as Rob was saying, yes, he's an older gentleman, and yes, he's established. Yes, he has plenty of money. So at 80-some years old, it's a little bit more involved in just making money for him. Obviously, he likes having this chess piece on his side.
Yeah.
You want a Bud fight? Well, you got to talk to me. And honestly, I really didn't see that much. I didn't see that much love lost between Bud and Bob on when they were, you know, together in conversation post-fight.
No.
They didn't seem like they had any animosity or
Rob, I don't know where you read that, but
that would stop him from wanting to continue to be over there.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go to comments real quick. Hang on. Been trying to get to them. Clarence says, Bob been promoting since the Bruce Lee. CJ Hooker, could Crawford look to join TMT? And Money Mayweather stable with Tank. I mean, he could, but let's face it. If anywhere, he's definitely just going to go straight PBC. Clarence agrees with Rob. Apparently, says talk to him, Rob. But Sherman agrees with me. I have to agree with Lucas.
For what, man? I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna
He
save it for
actually
rapid
agrees
fire.
with me.
I'm gonna save it for rapid fire
Look,
because
I
I'm
mean,
gonna save it for
I mean,
rapid fire.
apparently it's a decent topic, so let's talk about it now. I mean, when you're talking about Bob Arum, I mean, if you don't think he did his job, I don't.
But that ain't the topic of rapid fire. That's why
Well, then
it
rapid
dwells
fire
into
is
No,
still
that.
no,
all
no,
right.
no, no, no. But you was bringing it up, Bob. You're bringing up the
All
fact
right,
of how
I'll
much
bring it up.
value does but how much value does Crawford have to Top Rank? And is Bob really saying that he's not going to lose a dime trying to make more fights for Crawford? So, like, if we take it on face value and we believe what you heard is a rumor quote, then you have to say that
The
it's
quote
time for
doesn't.
Bud to use that information and calculatively make his own decisions based on statements like that his promoter is making.
Yeah,
The
let's
quote
face it.
doesn't.
I mean, but he's
The
stuck for
quote
2 more
doesn't matter.
fights, apparently, correct?
He is for 2 more fights, but the quote doesn't matter. He doesn't have to say it. He's showing it to you. He's showing you that level of disrespect by not getting you the damn fight that you want. What did Brian Custer say on the show? And I'm going with him because that's my idol. So I love that man. So I'm always going. He has a lot of validity in what he says. What did he say on the show about that?
I'm a little confused as to what part you're talking about. He said a lot of things.
I know
what
y'all got me. Y'all got me so mad. I done forgot what I was gonna say.
I mean, was he saying that nobody wants to share money? You know, Showtime don't want to share money with an ESPN no more than ESPN or DAZN want to share money with each other either. So that's where they at.
Right.
Everybody wants their separate coins.
But
That's
here's
what
my
he
issue. Here's my all right. I'm gonna break it down. Here's my issue with guys like Bob Arum. Period. Here's my issue with it. As the person in statue that you have in the game as a promoter, and you have a fighter that you cannot promote any longer. You've done the best that you can do. Let him go for himself. Let him go for himself to make his own money out there and do his own thing.
Let's stop acting like you're better than that. You ain't better than that, just like I ain't better than that, better than Sakura ain't better than that. Look, we ain't letting nobody go.
That's bullshit.
Money. That's money.
That's bullshit.
That's money.
I'm gonna tell you why that's bullshit. I'm 80 years old, man. As an 80-year-old man, and you accomplish I'm gonna get in trouble.
Why is you concerned with how old this man is when he ain't concerned with
it? No, I'm not done. Because when you're establishing it in a game and you do that, your job now is to give back, whether to the sport, whether it be through a fighter, through your promotional company, whatever you do. Your job is to give back. Bud Crawford is a talent to this sport, not Bob Arum. That's what's pissing me off about this whole thing. Y'all are acting like Bud is cattle here. Yo, and that leads me to the rapid fire topic. Why, as an African American fighter, yes, race is involved now, period. Why are y'all treating these people like cattle and not letting them do the best that they can do for themselves? That's what Al Heyman is doing. Look, and everybody gives Al Heyman crap about it.
You out of your mind. Look, I'm going to tell you point blank. Terrence Crawford was just out of contract. If he wanted to leave, he could have done left. He likes it there. He's loyal. Look, he knew then that he could not make fights for him. Bob Arum is not the issue. There is not an issue there. He wants to make the fights with Bob. Obviously, he trusts Bob, or he would not have re-signed. Bob's doing his job, man. I don't know what you're seeing. I can't agree with anything you're saying.
Well, I got a question, though. I mean, let's take that a little further. So, like,
then why
do you
is he not
believe that
getting
if
them
Bud
spits?
was over at DAZN right now, do you feel like they could have made some type of arrangement right now for Bud to have fought at least a top 5 welterweight that was with PBC?
He would be worse.
If he was with Golden Boy or what's another one? I mean, we only got like
Golden Boy. Yeah, there's not many.
Like if he was with a different promotional company, do we see that? Do you feel like one of these fights would have been made by now, or do you feel like Bud would have been still stuck in this same situation?
Absolutely not. He'd be stuck in the same situation. The only way it would be different would be PBC. And that's only because they have the fighters. But let's face it, like you were saying nobody likes to do business with each other. You're splitting the bill, right? So there's other examples of it already. I think Rob said Andre, right? He couldn't find one with his current small-time promoter. He even got under DAZN. He's having some issues there. I mean, DAZN can't find him nobody. I know DAZN's not a promotional company, but you know what I'm saying. He got picked up by Matchroom, right? Is he not Matchroom now?
Yeah,
or
he's
MTK,
Matchroom.
one of them. But this is my example is that there's in every promotion there's going to be a problem. PBC I'm sure is lacking in one. I just cannot think of it currently, but they got to be lacking in opposition for one specific division, one specific weight group, right? So one specific person is sitting here thinking like, man, Al Heyman's just doing me wrong, but it's like, no, we don't got nobody for you to fight, man. It's a little harder to manage you. That's just how it is. That's the game, and that's how it works out.
I mean,
now,
well,
if
personally,
I'm
like they
Andrade,
were saying, Andrade and Canelo were at 160 at the same time, but they didn't really push them to fight each other either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little bit of like, well, I mean, he's a value to me, and so is Canelo. So if we let them fight, then one of them's gonna lose, and then they're not gonna be as much value. And that's another thing that Brian Custer was telling us too. It's like, you know, even if you're signed to a promotional company and you're on the same banner with other people in your division, they may still not really want you guys to fight each other because they want to make money off all of you.
Exactly.
So I mean, how much
Al Heyman has been Al Heyman. Let's get it
why
corrected
you defend
though.
Al Heyman like he's not done wrong?
I'm not done. Al Heyman is different because Al Heyman is not the promoter. He's a manager. Therefore, he doesn't care about who's matching up who against who. He's out there to get you the most money.
See,
now my issue with it all here is that Al Heyman's take on the game. If you really study the man and look at what he's doing, his whole take on everybody that he manages and what he does is he wants the brothers in the game. Yes, the young black boxers coming up, like Floyd, because he doesn't want to happen to them what happened to Floyd, which is why Floyd does all this business with him and everything on the promotions, everything with Al. Because Al is for his fighter. He's for the young black brothers that come up like Tank, that have no pot to piss in, that don't know how to run business, that don't know how to maintain. And if they listen, then their value is going to go up so high to where you're like a Floyd Mayweather. You can depict your career and your legacy.
I really don't understand because you're really, I mean, what is Bob doing differently than what Al Heyman's doing differently? The only difference, it sounds to me, coming out of your mouth, and I hate to say it, Rob, because you know you're my boy, but it sounds like you don't like him answering to a white man.
That is a good point.
But let's go to the comments before you address that, okay? Sherman Henson, Robbie comes down to promoters and networks. Mike Washington, he is loyal. Clarence McLean, Rob, calm down, you're turning red. Mike Washington, he would be stuck in the same situation, so he agrees with me. They avoiding Bud, point blank, period. PBC is the brand, so I guess they're saying this. Clarence is basically saying PBC is the one that you want to be at. Let's see. We got some more here. No. It's hard to keep up. They're putting too much value in the zero. Definitely agree with you there. Mike Washington, no one wants to build their legacy because Crawford is a legacy fight. It is a legacy fight. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to jump back to the promotions real quick. CJ Hooker says, let's get Don King out of retirement. I mean, yeah, they've all done sketchy stuff, and Al Heyman, above all, does sketchy stuff because he's borderline Ali-act. So
now,
let's
Lucas,
not talked about that because promotion, he owns part of PBC. They get around that because technically they're not under a promotional contract. He just manages them. So technically, as a promoter, they're not even signed to one. They're kind of like everybody's a free agent. It's all a little sketchy, okay? Let's not sit here and pretend anything. Yes, the promoter's job is to do what? Get you a lot of money, get you a lot of exposure, and what? Minimize risk. Okay? I think
That's not it, though.
I
That's
think
not it.
it is it. And if you're arguing different, see Garcia Sulca, please.
You
Uh,
always gotta bring that one
I
fight
mean, it's
up,
a good
Lucas.
example. I mean, it's an easy example to just pull out of my hat.
Well, you
But you
always bring
cannot.
up that example.
I mean, if the
Shakur, I
shoe fits,
remember.
you gotta wear it. You know, I
I
mean, it
I
is what
remember
it is.
what
I
Brian
mean, here's
Custer
what I
said.
was
Now,
gonna say about it. Okay, let's not act like Al Heyman doesn't also represent more than just African American. I mean, you know, Leo Santa Cruz is one of his boxers. He does have other boxers outside of just you know, black boxers. Yes, they're the majority of them, but they're not all of them. I mean, he has Lipinette. So like there are other boxers that he does have. But the point is, he's an attorney and he is representing them as as their management. Now, the problem for me is that even if Al does look out for his boxers in the perspective of money, sometimes it's not including enough of the long-term legacy that certain boxers want. Now, you can sniff your nose. I saw that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that money is not everything. Money is necessary, and you do want to maximize your dollar. But you don't want to have your boxer towards the end of his career and they've never been this or they've never been that. They never fought this person. You start going down the record and they haven't done that. This is something that I can say that Canelo has suffered from. Canelo is good enough to win a fight against anybody that he fights. But the way that his record looks is like the people that were handling him were not thinking about how somebody who is really a great boxing person can come through and pick that record apart. So, I mean, there's certain things that if you're with certain management, they want to look out for the money, but they're not focused enough on the overall goal, which is also to keep those boxers inside of the conversation to be legendary. So, like, I'm just saying that we have to, like, you know, we just have to take everything overall when we're talking about whether a promoter is good or not.
now that's exactly what I was gonna say because that's what I remember Brian Custer saying, and
Oh,
Lucas
okay.
said those two things were Bob Arum's job. No, that's not the only job. Your job is to listen to your fighter and do what your fighter wants for you to do. If your fighter says, "Get me this fight," your job as a promoter is to get him the damn fight.
Okay, but again, you're holding Al Heyman to a different standard, Rob. Who's the
He's not
one?
a
And it was
promoter.
Leonard Ellerby who sit there and said, "What? I'm
Al,
not gonna give him a shot at my fighters." So it goes both ways. Don't sit here and be like, "Oh, Arum don't want it." Nobody wants that shit. Nobody's trying to make these fights work with Bud. Bud's being ducked, and it is what it is. You cannot sit here and say it's all Bob Arum's fault because that is clearly not the case.
But
Al
I
What
Heyman
is he really
does
saying
not
that though?
want
Is
it.
he really trying to
I
blame
didn't.
I mean, that's
Bob
what it
Arum
sounds
for
like.
everything?
That's what it sounded like.
What I'm blaming
You're
Bob
saying
for
that
is
he don't
this.
want to try to make a fight. That's what you were saying.
What I'm blaming Bob for is he can't make the fight. I'm not saying that he's not trying to. I know Bob's probably tried to make the fight. He can't make the fight. So you're established. You have all your money. Let the man go.
Let's see.
Let the man go.
We got some more
And
comments
who's to
here.
say that he won't let the guy go? We don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure if Bud wants to be gone, I mean, it
After
could be
those
a
two
situation
fights?
just like, let me say, the example with Regis Prograis, who actually was still like a 2-fight deal with DeBella, but was able to make arrangements for Al Heyman to have him on the PBC card. So, like, you can have fights still that you need to do on your contract, but it still could be negotiated that those, you know, you're either bought out of that or, you know, you're borrowed over there, however it might be.
Yeah.
So I mean, the thing of it is just how much do they want to do business with a Bob Arum, or how much would they rather do just business with Bud? And like, if we still don't have these fights that we want out of PBC boxers at welterweight, with Bud, then the answer is clear that they do not want to do business with Bob Arum. So if that's the case, then Bud now has to like decide he's gonna need to make a decision. Like I feel like it's down to him at this point.
It was up to him before he re-signed with Bob, if you ask me. But and that was only, 2 years ago. Sherman Henson says, understand, Rob, Al Heyman is doing two things, is managing fighters as well as promoting them. And no one is saying, not legally, and no one is saying anything about that because they haven't figured it out. And they're too damn scared to say anything. We're not, as I just said, so yeah, we'll see our
I don't think
summons in
anybody's
the
scared
mail.
to say it. They just on paper, that's not what it is. Like
I mean,
he's smart, like
he's got
smart enough to know.
other people involved. Mayweather's a promoter. Mayweather doesn't look to Al to tell him who to put what fights with.
Right. I mean, I understand what both of you guys are saying, and you're both making good points. The only thing that I am trying to relate to you is like 2 years ago when Bud resigned with with Bob Arum, he probably was thinking that he can still make this fight.
He was thinking loyalty. That's all he was thinking.
Hold on a second. But also he was thinking, do I really want to go over there where I'm just another welterweight? And these people are already pissed at me for not deciding to go with them earlier. Right. If I sign that dotted line with them, are they going to do things the way I want to, or am I now shelved till they get ready to use me? Right. So, I mean, it's a lot of shit that goes into just deciding to go sign a contract with a new promoter, but this promoter is somebody that's like, you know, not as friendly with you because they feel like you're breaking black people code by messing with Bob Arum when you got options to be over here with other African American boxers. Let's be real.
Shakira, I agree with you. If that was the case, there hasn't been one single instance of that. There hasn't been one single example of that happening with Al Heyman or PBC.
No, because everybody else signed with him that they wanted to sign with him. I'm just telling you that I'm not saying that he would do that, but I'm saying in the back of this fighter's mind, he has to be thinking, well, am I going to go over there where I'm going to be like number 4 or number 5 on PBC's brand as a welterweight? Because I'm used to being the only one, and I'm the star over at ESPN in the welterweight division and with Bob with welterweights. Now I'm going to be asked to go over here where there are like all these welterweights, and I got to get in line. Plus, I don't know how these people really feel about me because I chose to re-sign or because I chose to go back with Bob Arum again.
Yeah,
so I mean these are things that I would be thinking about if I was a fighter.
Yeah, he's special to Bob because Bob needs him. Bob needs him more than really Crawford needs him. You know, so I mean he's a little bit more special, and she's right. It goes over to Al Heyman. I mean he's another number right now in the division. He becomes a lot less of a priority, and I mean I'm going to come back to it. Gervonta Davis versus Santa Cruz. I mean, honestly, that was probably the fight that got everybody the most excited this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But neither fighter made more than $2 million, where both made more than $2 million, and they were on ESPN, not pay-per-view. I think Bob did his job.
Or no, they did.
No, there was no crowd.
Wait, what are you talking about? Because you just said Tank.
I'm talking about Tank.
Santa Cruz.
Crawford did not have a crowd.
Yeah.
So I'm making my point is Al Heyman, if anybody, didn't get the same amount of money. So maybe that's why Crawford wants to stay. I mean, if he can keep fighting the Kell Brook and making money out of it, why not?
I don't think that's what he wants, though. He really wants to prove that
I'm not saying that's what necessarily what he wants, and he wants to prove it. But at the same point, I mean, if you can do that, then obviously he's good enough that once he actually gets to making those fights, if they will even see him at the table, then, you know, he's going to be making even more money. So,
I feel like he might as well give it a damn chance. I feel like he should go over to Al Heyman, sign the contract. I feel like he should give it a chance because at this point, he is out of options with Bob Arum. I feel like he should take a chance and go over there and at least see if these guys are willing to match him up, because right now he's not getting matched up, and it's preventing him from proving his own legacy and his own, validity of how he wants to be respected as a pound for pound number one. If he really wants it, he's gonna still get paid that $5 million that Bob was, at least still get paid that $5 million.
Oh yeah.
Over at PBC, because he's already been getting it. So I feel like he should take that chance.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really thought he should have took that chance a couple of years ago. I do. And I hope he does. I mean, it's better for him.
So, a few more other topics we have to get off here.
Okay, we're not gonna address them, but at least let me read the comments here. Rick says Bob Arum won't let Crawford go. He's a future cash cow. Sherman Henson, yes, he does, Rob. CJ Hooker, if Spence wins, who does he have left to fight? Thurman lost to Pacquiao. He would have beat both Mikey and Danny Garcia. Crawford fights Pacquiao. And if he beats Manny, then he will have a unification fight. Spence versus Crawford, that's the fight everybody wants. That's true, but let's face it. I mean, we'll take Crawford versus any PBC top welterweight right now. Just name top 7 probably, and hell, you got a good matchup, right?
Yeah.
But go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
And you could do a rematch. Spence could always do a rematch with some of these other boxers, the way that they wanted Thurman and Spence or Danny Garcia to do rematches. So they have options to keep spinning this wheel, whereas Bud don't have those options over at Bob Arum's Top Rank. And let me just say, for the record, that I feel like it's sad that we got to say that African-American boxers can only feel like they're being treated fairly by going with one promotional company after we have so many. Well, it's not so many, but after there's supposed to be like at least 4 or 5 different options. Like, I think that's effed up. And that's how I'm going to end that segment.
So we do have to talk about the first fight in that card with Terrence Crawford, with Jason Maloney and Franco, because there was controversy in that fight. Guys, instant replay was just announced in Vegas, in Nevada, and number one, they didn't immediately go to instant replay, and number two, when they did, the commission still overruled it. Guys, what happened in this fight? What happened in this fight?
You know,
Lucas.
I was just as mad as you guys at first. I mean, watching it, and they're showing the instant replay that they're looking at, and they're not showing any headbutts at all, and it looked like a thumb in the eye, and my take is a little different now. So I've rewatched it. I've seen some other clips. It does look like there is a point of some clash of heads. The problem is it's only from one angle.
Side.
Yes, it's only one angle, so it's hard to tell. So it could be a combination. One thing is for sure, a thumb definitely did land in the eye. And honestly, would you guys rather see him still lose, even if it is a thumb to the eye? Would you rather see him lose his title that way in the first round with a thumb to the eye?
That's a great question.
It wasn't like it was a
intentional
thumb that the guy did on purpose.
No, but I don't know. I mean,
and it was
like
a lot more than one jab. That was just the one that they kept highlighting. But it was more than one jab.
Right. But back in the day, when the thumb was not attached to the glove, that would have been a disqualification. Or at least a no contest. You know what I'm saying? Right. Not let's give this dude the belt because he thumbed you in the eye. It doesn't seem right to me.
But wait, though. The ref was saying it was due to a headbutt, and it clearly wasn't. And then we got the replay to look at it, and it wasn't. So, I mean, we can't say it wasn't.
You're saying what they showed you was not a headbutt. That does not mean that there was not a headbutt.
They showed us a head clash.
And it was on the wrong side.
It was on the left. It was on the, I'm sorry, it was on the left side of the face when the right eye was the issue. But what I'm trying to tell you is that just being impartial. When I look at the fact that the instant replay was supposed to either validate or invalidate what the ref's call was. So if we're just looking at it based on that, and he said it was a headbutt that was the issue. They went back, it wasn't on that side of his face, and then we clearly see that it's a jab to the right eye.
Sherman says it was an intentional thumb.
But I don't think it was an intentional thumb. But regardless if it was or not, I'm saying the instant replay was supposed to be able to validate or invalidate the referee's call. So to me, it's like, if you just get down to what that instant replay is supposed to be for, it was not justified to watch it in replay and then still not change your decision on the ref's call when it obviously was not what the ref said it was.
So here's my issue. Hold on. Yeah. But let me elaborate more on that, because here's my issue. The rule states there's an extra referee in charge of the replay, which at that time was Bird. They did not announce Bird's decision, nor did they allow him to make a decision, which is what the rules are in place for replay. He instantly had to go to the commission, which then in turn the commission was the one in charge at that point. And that's the issue.
They did not follow the procedure.
They did not follow the protocol.
Joe Cortez was the one that made sure that instant replay was added to to the Nevada Commission's procedures. And it was particularly sickening to me that when he's in the hospital with COVID, they're gonna take what he wanted to do and use it in such a terrible way. I mean, it was such a slap in the face to me, and it really got on my bad side. The fact that you didn't even allow the person that you designated as the ref to rewatch it and to use the replay. You had called somebody else on the phone, I guess the head boxing commissioner, and let them have the say. I mean, my only thing about it was that also irritated me too was just the fact that what you calling somebody else for? You know the rules. You saw what the playbook is. What the hell you getting on the phone for? You sitting up here trying to protect the referee's decision. It's like, I don't want to go against what the referee said. That's bad for us when we don't support what the referee's decision was. Even when you had like 3 different people over there, 3 different officials looking at that replay. It wasn't just Bird sitting there, and they watched it multiple times, and they never saw a headbutt on that side.
No, they definitely failed.
Yeah, like, it's like, but you still, and you know who had it? Who was Bradley. Bradley was like, watch.
Oh yeah, that's why I like Bradley. He knows the
culture.
He knows.
Yes, he knows the culture, and he's like, watch him. He was like, you really think they would do that if they see that it's not a headbutt? He's like, watch. So we got a learning experience there, because we learned, like, it's hard to break boxing culture, and it's hard to break boxing commission culture. Even when you got instant replay there, that was supposed to nip it in the bud and stop any call or error in rulings. It's still like, you got to tackle. You can't just put a rule in place. You have to also try to break the boxing culture. So I mean, that was a lesson for all of us boxing fans, but everybody was kind of like, what the hell just happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you got instant replay for if you're not going to use it right, you know?
Very true. Yeah, it was very frustrating. Like, come on, man. I've been dying for this, because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff and fights that could have gotten overturned. And, yeah, I thought, man, this is going to get called right now. You know, it's going to be like the NFL, where They made a
Yeah.
mistake, and now it's going to get corrected. And no,
Right,
no.
right then.
And the
Boxing-
commission still stepped in.
Boxing
And
still
by the
shot
way, it was
itself in the
still
foot.
30. What was it, like 30 to 40 minutes? They stopped
30 minutes.
everything
It was
to
crazy.
watch this one round.
Yeah. I could
I
have
mean,
watched
it
that.
was totally
You
No,
could have watched it in
Shakira,
super
no.
slow-mo, that one round, man. You could have watched that
No,
shit.
they had the replay down. They had the replay down in the first 5 minutes. It was all the commission bullshit that took the extra time.
Yep, on the phone. Are you sure you saw it? Well, tell them to watch it again.
That's
Well,
the funny
I mean-
part. That's the funny part. How the hell does the commission dictate what ESPN plays to the audience?
Well, they're
Oh,
trying
they
to get the
requested
feed.
them to replay it.
Yeah, they're getting the feed. Look, let's call it like it is. Let's say, okay, so there's no promoter, right? And it's just the Nevada State Athletic Commission at like a house show, a smaller promotion. There's no
Yeah.
video to play back. Who are you gonna ask to play it back? There is no video. You got to ask ESPN and Top Rank. That's who came. I mean, ESPN's the promoter, but you know what
No,
I'm
I'm
saying.
talking about
Or-
they asked them
to
to
tell
play
them.
it to the audience. They asked them to play back with a specific time frame that they wanted them to show the
Right.
audience.
They did.
yeah,
I remember that.
to
And they was
manipulate
like,
their
okay, we
decision.
played what they asked and it's still not there.
Nah, I don't know, but let's just say that they failed because we can't put the blame on nobody. It's just the commission as a whole, Nevada.
Yeah, we can. The commission failed.
Yeah.
I'm
But by the
placing
way,
blame.
kudos to Garcia because he protected Franco, didn't he? He knew exactly what to say.
Mhm.
It's like, what you got a ref, what you got a ref for if you're not gonna, listen to their decision.
And that's a good point, Shakira. With that being said, Franco, you fought like shit. You fought like shit that night. Moving on, guys, we have the announcement. Canelo Alvarez finally has a fight, and it's this year. Coming up in December, it's going to be Callum Smith. And let's just say this, it's going to be Callum Smith because Caleb Plant declined the option. Lucas, what are your thoughts on this fight?
One, I want to say congrats to Caleb Plant because it sounds like he's not being bullied into this fight. He's not taking the lottery check either. He's thinking long game, okay? So he's playing the game a little bit smarter. I'm not sure how much of a training camp he would have. What is it, mid-December that they're planning this fight for?
Late December, probably after Christmas.
I mean, but that's not even what I heard, guys. I mean, I had heard that, the reasoning was the Caleb Plant fight was going to be too much to try to organize this close to December, which is the date they wanted to have. I didn't hear that Caleb Plant just all out said no. So
He did. He said no because it's not enough time for him to be in camp, which to me states, why are you not in camp already? You haven't fought yet. You haven't fought recently.
Well, why would he be in camp if it's a COVID year?
Yeah.
And
Well,
he had
not
already fought
camp,
who
but
he
why
was
are you
gonna
not
fight
in the
this
gym?
year?
Why are you not in the gym at least? Why are you not in
But
the
that
gym?
don't mean you're gonna be ready to fight. You want him to fight Canelo in a matter of weeks?
Yeah, it's COVID. Take advantage of it. Canelo hasn't
Nah.
fought yet this year. Canelo
No,
hasn't fought
I don't
yet
think
this
so.
year.
Because if he lose that fight, he loses his title. No, I wouldn't.
Then you got
I
an
wouldn't have done it
excuse.
either. I'm
Then you
sorry,
got
I
an
wouldn't have done it
excuse.
either.
Okay.
But I heard that the how you say it, the networks or the app that's involved, they were saying that it's not enough time to prepare a real proper pay-per-view either.
And you know why? Because it's actually set for September. I cannot talk. Saturday, December 19th. So
December 19th.
yeah, I mean, who's to say once they finalize stuff, you got a little over, a month to prepare. I mean,
so is Callum Smith. What do y'all think his chances are, though? 'Cause
He don't want to talk about Caleb
we
Plant
talking
no more.
all
You
about
saw that?
Caleb Plant. We
yeah.
talking all about him. No, he jumped ship. Fuck him. Pardon my
He
French.
did not jump ship.
He did. It's about
Okay,
Callum
so
Smith.
if it was your man, you would want him to hop in the ring with 4 weeks notice.
We're
It
ready.
sounds like that's what you would think that
We're
would be
ready.
okay.
We're ready.
I think, Rob,
You're not ready though.
I don't think you understand what really is happening here. Okay, so you're Canelo. You've already been in camp because guess what? You call the shots. You already know when your date's going to fight is. You get to tell other people when you're about to fight. I could be in camp for 3 weeks and then be like, find me an opponent. Give him short notice. That's what's happening, Rob. He's doing as much as he can and getting ahead of the game as much as he can. So he's offering Caleb Smith even short notice right now. Caleb Smith's just taking it. That's all it is.
Well, Caleb felt like he was going to fight this year too, so I feel like he did his due diligence and he's in shape.
Yeah, but I mean, you it's different from being in shape and being actually ready to fight a fighter like like Canelo Alvarez.
Well, he already declined. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Caleb Smith already declined to fight once.
He did.
So
and why did he fight the first time? Because he's trying to be made to take a fight on short notice. If you want to fight a man, fight him at his best.
It was about money the first time.
No,
I'm sorry
no,
to interrupt you. I heard it was about money.
No, it was still about short notice. It's the same thing, and it's the same thing he's doing now. Look. Let's not get it twisted. Canelo has known for a while he was going to be setting a date, and he's going to get his way regardless. So he set that date saying, oh, I'm going to fight, but nobody else knows who I'm going to fight because I'm going to pick that person late notice. You know, he did it to Kovalev, and he's going to keep doing it because guess why? It's going to give him a strategic advantage going forward. He knows he's the A side. And there's no one who's going to come back. I think even right now, if Floyd came back, he might not even be the A side. Or at least it'd be a 50-50.
All right. So what do you think about this fight, Lucas?
Nobody has
answered
I had to
the
move,
question.
guys, because my phone battery is about to die.
Look, I like Caleb Smith and all, but yeah, go ahead, Score.
Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you guys is that what is this saying about Callum Smith that he's willing to take this fight last minute? I mean, does he really think he's gonna win?
That's true.
I told you because he already prepared for Canelo because he knew it was gonna happen eventually. He was named earlier in the year for this fight. He knew his fight was gonna come. Yeah, but that fell apart
when he started going with the whole trying to get out of his contract deal. So he had no way of knowing for sure that he would go with him. As a matter of fact, he tried to go with Caleb Plant first.
Right.
So what would make Callum Smith decide that he was still going to be interested in this fight, regardless if he only got 4 weeks to prepare or not?
What is your take?
It's like Shakira? He's already known in his mind that he's probably not going to win.
Because I feel like I'm right.
And no, I think it's another Kovalev, man. He's taking the pay cut and he's gonna run. Like I feel like that's what it is. I don't mean to talk about Caleb Smith because I don't know you, Caleb Smith, but I'm simply saying it does not sound like somebody who's willing to take it on a short notice is really going to be taking the fight seriously, especially after the Kovalev fight. I just can't trust it. I'm not saying that's the case because I don't know. But from an outside perspective, that's what I'm seeing. He's basically saying, I'm okay with taking it. And honestly, Canelo should be ashamed of himself. I mean, Rob, this is like me telling you we got some like heavy duty work, right? Tomorrow, we're going to be breaking bricks, right? So you ain't in no kind of shape right now. You in COVID. You can't be breaking no bricks. But I tell you that shit at 9 p.m. tonight. And you got to be up at 3 a.m. to break these bricks with me. Guess what? You ain't going to be in shape. You ain't going to be able to break them bricks, right?
Hold up. You know what I'm going to
ask? And do I want you in shape?
But
you know what I'm not. But if I gave you, want you in shape.
If I gave you a couple months to get ready, you would have been ready. And you would have been able to break the bricks.
No, because you know what I'm going to ask you? How much money you willing to pay me?
That don't matter.
I'll break that shit tonight if you paying the right amount of money.
And it's not a problem, but that just tells me all I need to know as to whether or not this is a fight that I really want to see.
Let me ask you something, Rob. How much would it take right now for you to be knocked out by Canelo? Because, I mean, if you fought him, you're getting knocked out. But listen, how much you need? 500,000? Would that do it, or would you take less?
No, I need more than 500. I need at least $1 million. They give me a cool $1 million right now. I'll step in the ring with his ass. And guess what? I'm gonna run all around the circles. I'm gonna wrestle his ass. I'm in wrestling champs, boy. I'm gonna wrestle him. I'm a single leg takedown, all that shit.
You a damn
Okay,
liar. You be taking
but you know, Callum
200,000,
Smith.
maybe less.
Callum Smith is not gonna get paid $1 million. You want more than Callum Smith gonna get?
Man, I want $1 million.
I ain't hear
I
nothing.
mean, I want $1 million. them damn hospital bills alone gonna cost $500,000.
Well, they got insurance they put on every
you got
fighter
insurance.
at the fight. So
You'll be all right. Just take a dive.
So let's end the show on this note.
Clarence says nothing Canelo does surprises me anymore. Sherman says, but Smith never stopped training. I mean,
but Sherman, do you really think that Smith has a legitimate chance of beating Canelo, whom obviously he just wants to tune up? He just wants to take this tune-up fight before he possibly goes back into negotiations for the fight in May, because you know he loves May. In May, for Cinco de Mayo versus Caleb Plant.
So look, I have to say this because you're undermining what Canelo did. Canelo, by making this statement with the lawsuit, and leaving his promotional company, he's telling us he wants to fight. He's telling us because hold on. You're giving him crap. You're giving him crap because he wants to fight. Literally, that's what y'all are mad about. You're mad about because he wants to fight when he could have sit his ass out this year and kept $350 million.
Well, he doesn't get paid just $350 million. It's per fight.
Yeah, it's not how it works.
Per fight. But my point is that we haven't seen that yet. I don't know how you come to that conclusion when Callum Smith was on his short list with DAZN already. I don't understand what you're saying.
A lawsuit is pending.
Okay, back to the business. So I like Caleb Smith. I think he's a good fighter, but I don't think he's anywhere close to ready. I think this is still too much of a jump as far as skill level and experience goes. I mean, who's the best that Caleb Smith has fought? You're looking at Hassan Endam, John Ryder, Groves. I mean, that's the best of the best that he has on his resume.
Really? Is it? I didn't even notice that because we've been talking so much about his name is being dropped so much every time that a Canelo fight is possible and his name is being mentioned like that, to the point where I'm now thinking that he is actually fought more than just those names you just mentioned.
No, he hasn't. It's really not that good of an experience for him because I think it's too little, too young, too little right now, too early for Caleb Smith. He's a little too green. I really don't think he has an opportunity in this fight. And it's a good step in Canelo's direction to continue to fight at this weight, but at the same time, it's not really something that I'm like, Caleb's gonna pull it off. No, we're not thinking that at all.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm saying, like, this is like, let me know, like, whether or not my desire to watch this fight is gonna be strong or not. Mm-hmm. Do I want to pay DAZN that much?
Let me ask y'all a question.
I'm just simply saying, like, wasn't this the problem from the get-go that DAZN was saying, we don't want this fight because we know we're not going to get subscriptions. Now here we are again recircling, and it's the same damn shit.
Y'all
they ain't going to get no extra subscriptions off this.
You're speculating. Let me ask you a question.
I'm not speculating. I'm telling you the truth.
Because Lucas says the fight didn't happen because it was short notice. The internet says it didn't happen because Callum Smith wanted more money. And now you're saying it didn't happen because DAZN didn't want it to happen. It was a weak matchup. No, I didn't say. I said that they just said it was not enough time to properly promote or organize a pay-per-view of that magnitude.
Which is also saying short notice.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that DAZN said they wouldn't do
right, and we back each other up. Rob just be like, I'm mad now.
I'm already mad at y'all. Because let me ask you a question. can we stop doing this to fighters, please? Let me ask y'all a
Stop
question.
doing what?
What's it gonna take for y'all with these fighters to stop sitting here saying, I don't want to see it because he wins. I don't want to see it because he wins. And
we want to see competitive
hold
fights.
on. I'm not
That
done.
is a boxer.
I'm
That is
not
a
done.
boxing fan's desire to see
I'm not
competitive
done.
fights.
I'm not done. And then when a fight happens that you want to see, and they blow the fighter out, then you want to make excuses for why it wasn't a good showing.
I don't know what you're referencing right now. I honestly don't.
Me
because
neither.
Tank
when
Leo
it's a
Santa Cruz.
competitive fight,
Tank
everybody's happy.
Leo Santa Cruz. Tank Leo Santa Cruz.
What
Who's
about
bitching
it?
about that
I
fight?
watched it. I paid for it. What you talking about?
Who's bitching
Y'all
about
were
that
so
fight?
y'all are so excited about the fight, and then Tank wins, and then you don't like the performance. Oh, he can't beat a Tio. Oh, he's no way he's gonna beat Tio
Who
Fimo
said all
Lopez.
that? I never said all that.
Look,
Back
I mean,
up the
I
tape.
didn't.
Back up the tape. Y'all did.
No, I didn't. I did
Let's
not
see.
say that.
Sherman says he just getting in shape to take ass whooping. Clarence said they made this fight to make us forget about Wilder Fury 3, which was supposed to happen on the same date. Yeah, that's not happening.
Well, I mean, that was another interview we saw today from Brian Custer's Last Stand. That had my jaw like, wow. I mean, every question he decided to ask her, he went for it. Like, I gotta give Custer credit on that. Like, he obviously wasn't as concerned about getting Wilder upset because he even dared to ask the questions. I mean, but neither here or there. The point about Canelo versus Callum Smith, I'm telling you, this is like a tune-up fight for Canelo, and hopefully him and Caleb Plant. Which, by the way, I ain't forgot that shit where he wanted that WBC belt that Benavidez had, but he didn't call Benavidez ass out. So I haven't even forgot that.
Mm-hmm.
But being that I know that Rob likes Canelo so much, I'm not gonna say nothing else about Canelo the rest of this year.
You gonna have to, because he's got a fight coming up. Anyway, y'all, it is the Heavy Bag Boxing Tough
I
Talk
won't
Tuesday.
say nothing negative.
For always, it's my pleasure as your host. I apologize, I got a little heated tonight. Probably got kicked out of my house for it.
Uh-oh.
Love y'all though. This is Robert Alexander, Lucas Bigger, Shakira Armstrong.